go ahead. Y is equal to sine x. If I just draw one cycle was like this, okay. Y is equal to cos x. If I draw one cycle for this, it will be like this. So if you will notice that what is the difference between sine and cos? So the only difference is that in sine, if you will start from here, from this point, okay, like you can see the dotted line, then you will get the graph of cos. That is exactly the graph of cos. Okay, few important points about sine and cos, like the maximum and minimum value. Maximum and minimum value, it gives me a range as well. So range for both of them is -1 to 1. That is range of a function. If I say domain, so domain for both is they belongs to, like domain x belongs to R. It is true for all real values of x. Okay. If I talk about the positive and negative values, then if we divide the whole one cycle into 4 parts based on 90° each, so you can see that these parts are basically the 4 quadrants. Okay, so first quadrant sine is positive, cos is also positive. Second quadrant belongs to sine, that's why sine is positive, cos is negative in the second quadrant. Second quadrant means 90 to 180. Third quadrant 180 to 270, both of them are negative because it belongs to tan. Okay, and the last one, it belongs to cos, the fourth quadrant 270 to 360, so cos came up positive, sine stays down only, below the x-axis. Okay, so this picture should be very clear in your head. Till here, if anyone have any question, ask now, then we'll move on to graph of tan.
Sir, if the graph starts from the cosine graph, if
Yeah,
it starts from -1, then is it just minus cos x?
if it starts from -1, then yeah, a very good question. I have two options for everyone, whether it will be minus cos x or cos of minus x. What it will be.
So would it be inverted?
Okay, out of these two, which one it will be? I don't know what is inverted. Just tell me with respect to these two. Like basically the question is based on transformation. So one is y is equal to minus fx and another is y is equal to minus f of minus x.
Oh,
Okay, so which one, like Madison is asking that if the graph starts with -1, okay, so
So
out
should
of
it be the
this,
first one?
okay, reason,
So because I think minus f of x would be like inverted, and if it was f of minus x, then it would shift or something.
okay, partially correct. First part is correct, your answer is correct, okay, but the second part is not correct.
sir, f of minus x will move to the right.
Okay, now it is, now since you all
So
have,
sorry, can I say something?
yeah,
Maybe it starts from like -1, but then yeah, it starts from -1, but it ends like it starts from a later point basically.
okay, if it is -1, then will it be minus cos x or cos of minus x? That was the question. Like if it starts from -1, then what it will be? I'll give you an example from, you just try to recall any photo editing if you have ever done. Okay, your own photo you might have edited applying filters. Okay, so there's an option of flip. Okay, now it is time to understand the flip with the help of function. There are two types of flip. One is 180-degree flip. Okay, 180-degree flip will be, you will find this type of logo over there. Okay, that it will flip your photo in this direction. Okay, 180 degrees. And the other one is like this is horizontal, I can say. Okay, and another flip is 180 degree where you'll find this type of logo. Okay, and this we can call it as vertical flip. Okay, if you haven't done it, you have at least seen it. I'm assuming everyone knows what is flip. When we flip the photo, like right now I'm raising my right hand. For you, I think you can see the left hand being raised. Which hand do you see?
So right hand only. I don't think it's mirrored like that.
Yeah, right now means for me, what do you see? According to you,
So,
this is my left or right hand?
so we can see your right hand, but it's on the left side. Like when you look at it, it's on the
Yeah,
left.
it's just like this.
Okay, so as per you, it is the right hand or the left hand? That is the question.
As per us, so like if I'm putting my hand over here, like this is the right hand. So
Not like
like
that.
that, it's your left.
Okay, I'm raising both the hands. Now tell me which one is which.
Okay. So like raise one finger or something. Like make one like one as like a fist and one as like the
This is
palm finger like
left
that.
hand or right hand according to you? Which hand?
Left
Right.
hand side.
Left hand. Left
Yeah.
hand means I have not used that mirroring effect of this zoom. Okay, there's an
Yeah.
option of mirroring. Okay, so that mirroring is flip only. So coming to our point now, if it is a horizontal flip is usually created when you have f of minus x. Write it down. Okay, this is a part of transformation which everyone should know. And vertical flip is created when it is minus fx. There are other conclusions also we can take out from here. Like if it is a vertical flip, so it is reflection in the x-axis. Okay, so one more conclusion we can write that y is equal to minus fx is reflection in x-axis. And the other one is reflection in y-axis. Okay, so these two are like transformation only. And yeah, the question what Madison was asking that if it starts from -1, it will be minus fx. Because all the values of cos are being multiplied by a minus sign, it means it will be a reflection in the x-axis. So if I just draw the graph of both, this is the graph of original cos x. If I draw the graph of minus cos x, then it will be like this. It will be reflected like this. Okay, so the green one is minus cos x and this is cos x. Okay, same thing will be applied for all the functions, so it is a general concept. Is it done, everyone? Okay, let's move on. So is there any other question in the graph of sine and cos? Everything is clear? Coming to the graph of tan x. Now tan x have some asymptotes. What are asymptotes? That was the last topic of our last lecture. Okay, so asymptotes are nothing but a value where fx is not defined, or a line where the curve never meets or have any finite value. Like this was x is equal to 0 line, and you can see that this curve or a function is not meeting this line ever. So there will be no value for this function at x is equal to 0. This was a graph of log x. Okay, this you need not remember as of now, but yeah, if you want, you can. This is 1, 0. Log of 1 is always 0. This is also like a very factual point. Okay, now based on this, we can understand graph of tan. From our previous knowledge of trigonometry, we have been observing that tan of 90 degree is not defined. Okay, now on the graph, we are going to see that 90 degree is over here. I will draw minus 90 also. Okay, and since this interval between two green lines is of 180 degree, my next green line will fall at 270 degree. This is 270 degree, not 360. Okay, because this is 90, this is 270, this is minus 90, and after that, somewhere over here, we will get 360. Okay, we are going to analyze the graph from 0 to 360 only, but still you have to understand it in general like this. Okay, now between two green bars, there will be a same pattern being repeated all the time. Now what will be that pattern? So for that, once again, we'll recall the values of tan which we have done in grade 10. Tan 0 was 0, tan 30 was 1 by root 3, tan 45 was 1, tan 60 was root 3, and tan 90 was not defined. Okay, now tan 60 was root 3. Root 3 is 1.73. Use your calculator and just get the value of 1075, 1080, 1081, 1082. You will find a sharp rise in the values of tan. I just want you all to observe those values. There's a sharp rise, like 1.73 is a very small value, but subsequent values will be very sharply increasing. Okay, so just plug different values in the calculator. Whichever calculator you want to use, you can. Even in the mobile also you can see that. Okay, but the values of tan after 60 to 90 will be increasing very sharply. So in short, if you see that these are all increasing values, and these are not linearly increasing. So we are going to get a curve, that is for sure. We're not going to get a line. So the curve will be somewhat like this, and it will go like this on the other side. Okay, now this is just a rough diagram, but here you can observe few things, that this pink curve is never touching the green lines. It will never touch. So the green lines are acting as the asymptote for the curve. Okay, let us observe the first quadrant. First quadrant means 0 to 90 degree. 0 to 90, tan is positive. But if I write 180 over here, 90 to 180, tan is negative. 180 to 270, tan is positive again. Okay, it means that this same curve, the same curve which I have drawn between minus 90 to 90, I have to just copy paste it. Literally, I will be just copy pasting the same curve. So it will be drawn again. They are exactly same. Okay, and the last part 270 to 360 will be drawn like this. Just copy paste the values like the curve. You need to literally do this only. Okay, now once again, if we want, we can observe that first quadrant it is positive, second quadrant it is negative, third quadrant, it is positive again. And the fourth quadrant, it's negative. Fourth quadrant belongs to cos, second belongs to sine. That's why tan will have negative values over there. First and third belongs to tan, so it's positive. Okay. The period of sine and cos. Let me go back to the graph of sine and cos. Sine and cos were showing repetition after every 360 degrees. This can be a 1-mark question, an MCQ question. 360 degree or 2 pi is called as the period. If you want, you can add it over there only for sine and cos. Period means after how much interval it is repeating the same values. So sine and cos are repeating the same values after every 360 degrees, after every 2 pi interval. If I observe the same for tan, it is repeating its value after every 180 degree interval. So the period for tan will be pi or 180. Try to get used through with radian and degree measures both. Okay, 90 and 270. 90 and 270 are the points where tan is not defined. Okay, so I will write like these are all conclusions which we can draw from here. Tan x is not defined. Let us write like this. Tan x is equal to infinity for all x belongs to, you just see how I'm writing 2n plus 1 pi by 2. Pi by 2 is 90. Okay, 2n plus 1 means odd. This was discussed earlier also in the last lecture. 2n plus 1 is an odd number, nth term for the odd number. So 2n plus 1 pi by 2 values, you just keep on putting the values of n from 0. You can put negative values also, but let's try from 0. If you put 0, it will be pi by 2. Pi by 2 means 90 degree. If you put 1, it will be 3 pi by 2. 3 pi by 2 means 3 times 90, that is 270. So tan x is not defined at all 2n plus 1 pi by 2 values. Since it is not defined, this will be removed from the domain. Okay, it means if I want to write the domain of tan x, it will be x belongs to all real numbers except 2n plus 1 pi by 2. It is necessary to write where n belongs to integer. This z stands for integer. Over here also you can write n belongs to integer. Okay, z is the set of integer. Integer is needed because it can be positive, negative, anything. So domain of tan is done. We have seen the values, the sign. Okay, we have seen the period of tan. Finally, range is left. What will be the range of tan? Look at the y values.
Will it be 1 minus 1?
1 minus 1. I can't see 1 or minus 1 anything on the y-axis.
So just real number.
Okay. That can be acceptable, but I would like to know the reason.
So if you just observe the graph, then it's visible that so because it's an asymptote,
Yeah. Okay.
so then it won't like
Fine.
it'll just continuously go.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Understood. Everyone can see that. If you just observe that pink line, pink curve from the bottom till the top, it is continuously coming from some negative infinity point and it is going till positive infinity. It will keep on going. That's why I asked you to find the values, some random values of tan for angles greater than 60. Okay, you can try to find value of tan 85, tan 89. You'll find very huge values. And then 89.1, 89.12. From 89.11 to 12, you will find a quite good gap in the answer of tan. Okay, so the point is, after that, it is rising sharply and it will keep on rising till infinite. It means range is y belongs to r, all real values. This was a graph for tan. So till here, if anyone have any doubt, you can ask now.
So every time I put in like trigonometric like ratios onto my calculator, it gives me some really weird results.
Okay. Weird results means a very big number.
No, but I don't think it's like accurate.
How much it
Um,
is coming?
so okay, for example, tan 80 is like 9, which is that doesn't make sense.
I think his calculator settings is in radians or something.
Yeah, I got your point. I'm also checking it. 89.999 if I put na. Okay. If you want to really see what is tan 90, you just keep on putting 89.9999999. Just go on putting that. You'll find that the number is rising very sharply. Before that, if I'm putting any value na, so it is giving me some negative answer sometime. Okay, so I got your point. Like why it is showing that, I'm not clear with that. Means it shouldn't.
We
Then
do
it
a
is
question after
negative.
this.
Huh?
So can we do a question based on this after this? Because I don't understand how we can apply this in a like what sort of question they'll even ask from this.
This is, by the way, not a concept, first of all. Okay, these are the fundamentals which we are just creating. Okay,
Okay.
so the graphs which I have shown you na, right now, they are not precisely from the questions point of view. Okay, you should just know how to read the graph. You should understand the basic things. And now what type of question will be asked? Let us see that.
Okay, so
Okay, in question, they will tweak different things from the same graph. Okay,
all
so
right.
if you have understood this, you should be able to decode what they have done over there. Okay, let us see the first one. You'll understand. Okay, everyone, have a look at this question. Let fx is equal to a sine bx. Okay, a is an amplitude of the function. That was discussed in the last lecture also, that usually we write y is equal to a sine x. Now, let me be very clear with why we did these three graphs, because from here, when there will be any changes in this equation, you should be able to think, keeping the reference graph of sin x in your mind. Now, everyone knows that why the maximum value of sin x was 1, because there was nothing over here. Okay, if I write, let's say 5 over here, then it will be amplified by 5 times. The values of sine will fluctuate between -5 to 5. If you understand this much from that basic graph, you can very easily write down the amplitude for this. How much it is?
Three.
Is it 3?
It's 3.
Okay. Yeah, so this is why I wanted to do some questions because like I understood the graphs, but I didn't understand like what are we going to do with them. So yeah.
For that, yeah, you need to keep some patience, because we will be ultimately doing lots of questions. Next is find the value of A. What a useless question is this? That will also be 3. Okay, you should just know that A itself is called as amplitude. That is why you will be given marks for. Write down the period of F. What was the period? Try have a
Like
look
after
at
which
that
point
graph.
it repeats.
Huh?
Like after which point it repeats itself. Like
Yes.
the
So in this graph, up to where we are looking at, we are getting the original values, and after that it is repeating.
so is it pi over 2, I think.
Okay, everyone can see pi by 2. 0 to pi by 2, it's all original. After that, it is copy paste. Okay, after that, it is the same pattern being repeated. Okay, so the period of this graph will be pi by 2. Though we have done only sin x, but from there we can do anything. Okay, even the last part. The most trickiest part is that only how do we find the value of b? If you notice, the original graph was having period how much? 2 pi. Okay, 2 pi was the period. This graph is having period pi by 2. Can you see that it is compressed? Everyone can see that it is compressed. That compression need not to be necessarily seen in the graph. You have to see the values also. From there, you can very easily point out that it is a compressed graph. Now, what we should have got at 2 pi, we are getting at pi by 2 only. So it is a compression by a factor of 4. How many of you can understand like this? I will show you the mathematical way also. By observation also we can get the answer as 4.
So could you repeat it one more time?
What I am saying that the graph which was supposed to be drawn between 0 to 2 pi, now the same graph is drawn between 0 to pi by 2. Pi by 2 is what? It is just 1/4 part of that whole 0 to 2 pi. Pi by 2 means
Yeah.
1 quadrant. Okay, so it is compressed by a factor of 4. Factor of 4 means it is basically compressed by a 4th part. Okay, but how do we write that? So here also, before moving ahead, I'll tell you 2 transformations for a function. I think we have done transformation initially also. Okay, but these are the real life, like real examples where we are actually observing the application. So there are 2 transformations which we can revise over here. Y is equal to AFX and y is equal to f of AX. Both the transformations can be observed in this question. Fx is equal to a sine dx. A number is multiplied before the function also, and inside the function also it is being multiplied. So y is equal to AFX. Basically, I can say stretches the graph. STRETCH. I think spelling is right now. Stretches the graph. What happened to the graph? It was 3 over there. So it stretched the graph by a factor of A. This is like a very general statement I am giving, because stretch doesn't mean that it should expand. It can compress as well. Everyone is clear with this? Okay, it can even compress. Now, who will decide that when it will be compressed and when it will be expanded? So that depends on the value of A. That was also done at that time when we discussed transformation. If the value of A is between 0 to 1, it will be compressed.
So I'm gonna leave and join back because I don't think I can hear you.
Sure, sure. If the value of A is greater than 1, then it will be expanded. Now there is one video which I have recorded on transformation. I'll be sharing the link of that. You can watch it later as a revision. Okay, when it is f of ax, can anyone guess what it can happen in f of ax?
So maybe like only one of the axes like increases.
Okay, let me just add one more word to the previous one. This was a vertical stretch. Now it will become more easy for you to think. Okay, f of ax will be what?
So horizontal.
It will be stretch only, but it will be a horizontal stretch. Okay, a horizontal stretch by a factor of a. Okay, once again, whether it will be expanded or compressed. Horizontally, it can be expanded as well as compressed. Okay, so if the value of a is between 0 to 1, then it will be okay. Now this is very interesting. If it is between 0 to 1, it will be expanded or compressed. Let us see it live in this question. Okay, because this is a question of compress. How do we come to know that? Okay, so the simplest way, okay, I'm not saying anyone to learn this, but use your understanding to solve the question whenever needed. Okay, how we will do it? In the original graph which is there in your notebook, hopefully it should be there, you can see that this point is what? This point is 2 pi.
Yeah.
Can you see that?
Yes, sir.
The original graph, this point is 2 pi. Okay, in the original graph this point is pi, and in this graph it is pi by 4. So pi and pi by 4, what field it is giving you? That factor is 4 for sure, but the question is whether it will be 1 by 4 or 4 multiplied by that. I'm not sure about this. Means the point is whether the value of b is 1 by 4 or 4. How will you come to know that? Anyone can guess anything, any method? Okay, how do we do it? Let us see. Sine is always 0 at some n pi. So basically this bx value should be equal to some n pi. Okay, how you have to interpret it, try to understand. This bx value should be equal to some n pi. Everyone is getting this? So the x value from here, where sine x is 0, will be equal to n pi by b. This is the most important part of this question. Like, you don't have to write everything, but yeah, you should understand this. Now this n pi by b is obtained when n is equal to 1. Okay, usually when you put n is equal to 1, you will obtain the first value. When you put n is equal to 2, you'll obtain the second value. It is your choice, whichever value you want to put, you can. If I put n is equal to 1, it will be 1 pi by b is equal to pi by 4 as per the graph. And that will give me the value of b as 4. Answer will be b is 4. And from there, we can conclude one more thing. I'll first write down the conclusion and then we'll come to the question again. If the value of a is between 0 to 1, like this is between 0 to 1, it will expand. It's opposite which is happening over here. Usually everyone will think it will compress. But we have an example in front of us, it is expanding. If the value of a is greater than 1, like in this question, this number, like b was multiplied, na? So it was greater than 1. So if it is greater than 1, it will compress. Okay. So both of them are stretch, vertical stretch, when it will happen, horizontal stretch, when it will happen. You should be clearly understanding each and everything. Questions are welcome. If there is anyone having any question or doubt, you can ask. Y is equal to sine nx. We need to get the period of this. Okay, what will be the period of this? So, in general, the period of sine x is 2 pi. So the period for this will be 2 pi by n. Whatever is the n value over here. Okay, like in this question, if you will see now, it was 3 sine 4x. We have already solved it, so I'm just writing it directly. So the period for this will be 2 pi by 4. Okay, you will get it as pi by 2. If you will go back to this graph, we can see that it is completing one cycle in pi by 2 duration. So if you remember the formula for period, this formula, you can get the answer from here as well. Okay, how? For this question, period is pi by 2. Formula says period is 2 pi by b. Okay, from here when you will solve, you'll get the value of b as 4. Okay, this is what they have given in the mark scheme. But then for that, you need to remember this formula. Period is equal to 2 pi by n. So for sure, it can be done like this, no problem. But you should be able to observe it with the graph as well. Okay, we are moving on now. A similar type of question. Everything what we have discussed in the previous one, you can apply literally in this. Okay, so try it out. I'm giving you 2-3 minutes. This much time is more than enough. You don't have to write much. Okay, you have to just, there will be doubt, then we will discuss few more examples on the same. If I compare it with the graph of cos x starts from the top. Okay, this graph should be there in your mind. This is like a reference. Now it is starting from the negative, means it is negative cos x type of thing. Okay, now if I am saying y is equal to minus cos x, means it should be starting from -1, but it's starting from -2, means it will be -2. So the value of a is -2. That is the only logic you have to use. Everyone is clear? It is quite visible in the graph. Okay, next, period of f. Now period is just, you need to observe the repeatability, that from where to where it is repeating.
So can you repeat again? So why is it going to be -2?
-2 because it is starting from the negative. It is a flipped graph. Okay, it is
Oh, okay.
basically a flipped graph.
Okay, oh, yeah, yes.
Okay, so this black color one is minus cos x. Minus cos x actually fluctuates between -1 to 1. Now it is fluctuating between -2 to 2. So the value of a will be -2.
Okay, sir.
Period by observation. Can anyone tell me? You can directly speak out if you can see the period.
So is it pi?
It will be pi. Can everyone see that? That after every pi interval, this A type graph is getting repeated. This is one period of this cos. Okay, so the period will be pi. Find the value of b. Now for finding the value of b, you can use that 2 pi by n is equal to period, and then you can get the value of n from there. Anyone is getting the value of b?
So I did 2 pi by n, and that equals the period, right? So
Yes.
2 pi by n equals
Pi. Okay. Everyone listen. The period of this we have seen it is pi. Okay. This period is equal to 2 pi by n. N is basically this b as per the question. I'll write b only over here. Okay. By just observation only, you can see that pi will get cancelled and the value of b will be 2. So that is what you have to even show in the calculation also. Okay. And yeah, that's it. So anyone have any question in this particular, like all three parts, A, B, and B, part 1, part 2? We'll be doing one more question, and possibly it will become more clear after this one. So this time it is A cos bx plus d. Now this plus and minus d will cause vertical shifting upward or downward. Okay, d can be positive, negative, anything. Look at the graph and think that how much can be the value of d, what will be the value of A.
sorry, sir.
No problem.
So what was the answer for, was it pi?
It's 2. Pi will be cancelled, b will be equal to 2.
2, sorry, yeah, sorry, 2.
Okay, first observation which everyone should do is try to find the mid line which is dividing the whole graph into 2 segments. If you want to cut the whole graph into 2 segments horizontally, from where the line should pass. In earlier graphs, the line was passing through the origin, like this x-axis, but this time it is shifted. So it will not be that x-axis. It will be somewhere either up or down. Where is that line?
1, like y equals 1.
Y is equal to 1. Everyone can see that this y is equal to 1 line is actually acting as a reference now. Okay, it means that the d value is 1. Though it will be asked later only, but yeah, we can just do it by observation only. What is the value of A? So A is basically the amplitude. So from here, if you will count, it is 3 units up and 3 units down. There is one more theoretical way what they have given in the mark scheme. I'll show you. So how they are finding A? F max minus F min by 2. Okay, F max means maximum value of function 4 minus minimum value of function minus 2 by 2. Okay, so that will be 6 by 2, that is 3. For initial questions, I didn't told you these things because I just wanted you to observe. Okay, these things can be learned later also once you are clear with the question. So the value of A is 3. Write down the period of F. So what is the period of this function? Okay, how will you get the period? Let us understand it from the graph. You have to start from any value. Okay, any value. Let's say I started from this. Just imagine that you are just tracking the whole graph. And when are you going to get the same value again? You have to go till there. So I stopped at that point because I'll be getting the same value at that point. So that completes one cycle of the graph. Now it is being done in how much distance? That will be the period. So what is the period of this graph?
So pi.
Pi. Everyone is clear with it? Rishan, Raghav,
Yes, this is clear.
Alison.
So I'm still confused as to how the reference point is 1.
Okay. Are you clear with the value of A?
Yeah.
Okay. So that amplitude is observed from the x-axis. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
So from the x-axis, you have to rise 3 units up, 3 units down. Okay. But this cannot happen in this particular graph. So that is happening with y is equal to 1 line. If you are rising 3 unit up, 3 unit down, it is fine. It is working. So that's why y is equal to 1 is that reference line.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. So it can be done like that also, or by just observation we can do it. Okay. Write down the period of f. It will be pi. Find the value of b. So for finding the value of b, I'll be doing the same thing. 2 pi by b is equal to pi. Value of b will be 2. And the value of d we have observed earlier, 1. Because the whole system is shifted by 1 unit up. Okay. So relatively, if you will have a look at this question, it might have looked easier. Okay. But still, please go through